was telling you about the marriage thing when they broke up, and Yoko came by and we started talking. Obviously, the important subject for us is what's happened. You've broken up. Then you're here, he's there. What's happened? And she was very nice and confided in us that, it's kind of broken up. But she was being very strong about it, but very not feminist, but being a strong woman rather than just submitting to it all. And she said, no, he's got to work his way back. If he's to get back with me, I can't just go. She couldn't. Which is good, I think she would be mad to just go and prostrate herself at his feet kind of thing. But she said, no, he's going to have to work it. And I said, well, look, if I see him, are you still in love? Do you still sort of love him? She said, yeah. I said, well, would you think it was an intrusion if I kind of said to him, look, man, she loves you, and there's a way to get back, and you can. Sounds like Beatles songs. It sounds like those. I send all my loving from me to you. And I said this to Yoko. I said, would that be okay? Would you hate that? But we might see him around. So I would like to be a mediator in this because I think the two of you obviously got something pretty strong going. And she said she didn't mind. So that was that visitor. And we went out to visit them and they were doing Pussycats.
This was a story that not many Beatles fans know. That John and Yoko reconciled in 1974 amid the Maypang affair because of Paul McCartney. And the reason why it was not so well known was that those who were privy to it did not talk about it to the press. It was only after about 37 years, on October 9, 2010, when John Lennon fans around the world were celebrating what would have been his 70th birthday, that his widow Yoko Ono revealed that her marriage to John was saved in the 70s because Paul McCartney stepped in. Yoko told the Times, "I want the world to know that it was a very touching thing what he did for John. He was genuinely concerned about his old partner. Even though John was not even asking for help, John, Paul, all of them were too proud to ask for anything. He helped. John often said he didn't understand why Paul did this for us, but he did." As Yoko recounted, Paul and Linda McCartney visited her in New York early in 1974, and they talked long into the night. Paul asked Yoko what would make her take John back, and she told him that if John courted her, she would perhaps consider it. Paul then visited John in Los Angeles, where he was living with May Pang, and according to Yoko, advised him on how to get her back. The fact that John immediately tried to court Yoko and came back to New York was hugely important, she says. Less than a year after they were reunited, their son Sean was born on John's birthday. So why did Paul help John? Aside from genuine concern for his old partner that he saw in the news, drunk in a restaurant and with the Tampax on the forehead, it was actually Kotex, according to John. Paul really wanted their relationship rekindled and their songwriting partnership renewed, and this act was a step towards that. When the Beatles broke up, Paul was the worse for it, resulting into heavy drinking that Linda had to save him. She encouraged him to form a new band, so he could have something to do and think about, and that was why the Wings was formed, but nothing could be a substitute for the Beatles. There would be other Paul's visit to John in New York the succeeding years, and though John could sometimes give him cold reception, Paul never lost hope. He even invited John to come to New Orleans in 1975, where he was recording the Venus and Mars album, but John was not able to come. By the late 70s, John had mellowed and agreed to write a song with Paul for Ringo in 1981, but it did not happen because John Lennon's killer ended it all on December 8, 1980. The one evidence that showed how hopeful Paul McCartney was that the Beatles could reunite was the January 1st, 1979, $10 million contract he signed with CBS, where there was a clause stating that Paul would be permitted to make recordings with John Lennon, Richard Starkey, and George Harrison recording together as the Beatles.
Hello.
That was Ringo, folks.
Well, what can I say?
And goodbye from all of us.
Well, this is Ringo. Everyone seems to have said everything here, so I'll just sign off by saying cheerio and best of luck from the Beatles.